live.
Hey.
So, welcome to Trackmania. We're going to be doing a campaign speedrun of the entire campaign, except the last track, because in this category and this game, this last track is 53 minutes long, so we're not going to be doing it, but the rest we are. So,
Too bad.
Yeah. I think we're actually ready to just go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Do we have a countdown? 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
All right. Oh, by the way, before we begin, we had a donation incentive for the car skin.
How did that one turn out?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Oh.
For Sweden, all right, home country, let's go. Yes, okay, then we're ready.
Yep.
So, yeah, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So yeah, welcome to Trackmania. So this is an arcade racing game, and the objective in the game here is to drive through these tracks as fast as I can and collect medals. So I do that by beating time targets, and we're not going to be collecting a specific number of medals in this run. It's only going to be about finishing the tracks as fast as I can, but it's a good indicator of speed, the number of medals we get. So you want to get 4 on every track, ideally. And yeah, this game has a lot of different surfaces and mechanics, so we're going to be driving dirt here. It's a bit different grip and some gears that you need to watch out for. And the goal here is to steer as little as possible so you maintain speed through the turns.
Exactly. So coming up to the third track now, this one's a bit easy again.
Yeah,
basically just wide corners.
Yeah. So these first tracks try to introduce you a bit to the game, show you some turns, some jumps. And right here it's a little airtime, so we release a bit to reduce it. Land early and then more speed.
Exactly. Like the big point, of course, also in general in racing games is that you want to maximize the time that you actually have grip with your wheels, and that's exactly the same principle here. So you just release to land a bit earlier on the downhill, get a bit more of that momentum down the hill, and you get the more speed.
Right, good E05.
Yep.
So the 5th track now, this is another dirt track.
Another dirt one here. This one has a couple of rather wonky landings. You're going to see one right here coming up, so hopefully we're not going to get a so-called landing bug, which is very common in this game, especially on the dirt surface, where you basically just land and for some reason the game just decides to slow you down. So we are going to see a couple of those, I'm pretty sure, in the later tracks, which are a bit more sophisticated than the one that you just saw. But yeah, going on to E06.
On this track we have a very important trick, and it's called the air brake. So for each one of these jumps I'm going to tap the brake key, and that's going to stop my nose's rotation from going down, and it lets me land with more speed. And this is very useful in Trackmania for controlling your car in the air, so we can always stop the rotation if we need to. And at the end here we have a small trick, so we're going to land before this obstacle so that we can get some speed over it and pass it quite nicely.
Perfect.
Alright, so another mechanic we have is drifting. So if the corner is very sharp and there's no easy way to pass it going full speed, we can drift around it, and you're going to see a lot of this in later maps. So for example here we're going to do a drift.
Nicely done.
And another air brake here to control the drop. And one more drift in this last corner going to the finish.
So yeah, the way you drift is actually pretty simple. You turn and then you hold the brake. So instead of just tapping the brake, which is actually quite common in other racing games, maybe Need for Speed might ring a bell where you just tap the brake and then you just drift. But here in Trackmania, Trackmania Nations Fair, in the stadium environment that we're in right now, you actually hold the brake to initiate a drift. And the longer you hold the brake, the longer your drift is going to be. Yeah,
so this track is an endurance track, and there's different track categories in this game. So the endurance tracks are the ones where it's about maintaining consistency and trying to avoid crashes, and usually they're multi-laps. So if we have time for any donations right now. So
Holby donated $25. Let's go get that bread.
Holby,
Dunster donated $5. Hello there, you beautiful video gamer gods. Finally some more Trackmania video gameplay on my monitor, and this time it's for a good cause. Good luck with the run, and please show us a bug-free run on E03, thanks. Greetings from Dunster.
Yo, thank you, Dunster.
Anonymous donated $30. Hey ESA, I'd love to see Wirtual showcase some shortcuts, so I'm putting my donation towards that incentive. Happy marathon.
Alright, thank you very much for the donations. Appreciate that a lot.
Yes.
Coming up onto E09 now, this one introduces a new block right here, which is the freewheel block. You saw the text pop up in the screen. Basically, as soon as you touch that red block, that's a little bit of a time loss right here.
Alright,
Too bad, man.
We're fine.
Too bad. But yeah, the red freewheel block basically cancels out your acceleration, your engine is off, and that will just continue until you reach the next checkpoint, which are the arches that you pass. And yeah, coming up to A10, this one's a bit of a meme track right here, jumping through a hole. Let's see if that's going to work out here.
Time it right here to get
Very
it.
precise timing.
Almost.
Close.
We had
Close.
We had it in the bag. Alright. So A11 here. This is another dirt track. And on dirt, it's very important to maintain your gear. So if you steer while you gear up, then you will lose speed. So here we have to wait for the gear, and then we have to steer in order to not gear down. I didn't actually get it there, but we tried our best. And yeah, there you go. Pretty simple dirt track.
Actually, pretty good author time on that track, actually. Like, you need to get the gear properly. That's something that the developers kind of got by accident, I think. But
so the previous donation mentioned a shortcut showcase incentive, and in that, if that is met, then I will show one replay on this track, and it's a incredible shortcut. It's probably the most insane racing shortcut you'll see. So definitely get your money in for that if we're close.
Absolutely. Speaking about shortcuts, A13 Wirtual.
Yeah,
this
one
one's going to be yours.
shortcut coming up right here. So this track is 30 seconds long, and it only has one checkpoint. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the checkpoint, turn around, and go back up where we came from. And now we need to climb this wall to the right. So let's try to line it up here. And
yes,
the drop
that looks
is
good.
important. All right, we got it. Nice. So yeah, so the wall borders in this game are they're actually not perfectly. They're not like a wall. They're curved. So with some momentum, we can get our wheels onto the wall and then simply drive over it. Another small shortcut here, actually. Not quite.
Oh.
Okay, all right.
That's a good parking spot, though.
Good
Look
parking.
at that. Look at that. It's for free.
All right, we're gonna go through. It's fine. So yeah, ideally we just want to land here and skip that one turn, and then you're gonna be fine. Going to the finish.
Yep.
So.
Coming up, last straight. So here it's a lot about momentum, pretty much. So
Yeah.
the more speed you get out of that shortcut and out of that dirt corner, the better your time is going to be. Last track in the white series, if you didn't notice, the Trackmania campaign is actually split into 5 difficulties, into 5 so-called flags, starting with the white one, which is about to end after this track. Then we have green, blue, red and black, and they all, of course, go up in difficulty. So later on the tracks are going to be more difficult and obviously also longer, and going to see some pretty interesting things as well later on. Yeah,
so we're going to see different blocks, and this game has some pretty crazy mechanics that allow you to do things. So we have loops and we have wall rides and stuff like that coming up, but these first tracks are very much so introduction tracks, like tutorial.
Exactly. So BO1, first track in the green series, also pretty simple, as you can see. It's not really like at a speed where you need to drift or something, so you just need to take the corners tightly here. Coming up to the last one, and then final jump into the finish. That looks good. Aiming properly, and there you go. Very nice.
And no worries on this one. So BO2, so here we're going to see a lot of drifts, and this is a type of map that is really skill dependent. So you see usually great disparity here in times between the best players and the okay players.
The okay players.
Yes. So yeah, one more drift here coming up, and then we have a drop and a finished stretch. So
exactly. The thing about this campaign is that it has a couple of tracks that are like this, that are actually skill-based, where you don't really have a lot of shenanigans going on that are really like random or really difficult to pull off. So that one was a good example of actual like just pure skill driving. And then on the other hand, you will see tracks later on, or the one with the hole jump earlier, that are just basically like meme tracks. You just do like some sort of acrobatic thing, like a stunt or a jump through something, and that's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
E05 also, I would say pretty skill-based.
Skill track, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
We have a downhill here where you need to release to keep your grip, and that will let you accelerate to the finish.
Yep.
So
well done.
Well done. And the same concept applies here. We want to reduce airtime, and it just so happens here that on this downhill you have slight airtime if you go straight. So a little diagonal movement there will let us keep the grip all the way.
Yep.
And we save a few hundredths of a second, so it's faster.
Very good. So yeah, that was another rather simple map. It has a very, very interesting time saver that is sadly not viable for a speedrun.
Sadly.
But you basically drive over a border and it kicks your back wheels up into the air, and for some reason you actually get a speed boost. Yeah. And it's, I don't know what's the chance to actually get that one, but it's ridiculously low. So for a speedrun, not viable. But yeah, that's how it is.
I think we should mention, like, there's not a lot of people who speedrun this game, but there's very much competition on every track. So there's people competing to have the individual world record time, and since the timer goes down to every 100th of a second, it's very, very competitive. So
exactly, time attacking really big in Trackmania, has always been, especially in Nations Forever. A small blunder, but you should be able to pass the jump.
We're fine. Okay, we're fine.
Okay, there you go. Nice.
So yeah. Yeah, the time attacking is very big. Like on every single one of these tracks, they've almost been maxed out in the 11 years since the game's release. So
11 years already, man. Feel old yet?
I feel pretty old.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's crazy how much the tracks. We tapped out of the game.
Wait, can we? Oh no. All right, we're fine. I clicked the wrong button.
Happens.
It happens.
Happens to the best of us, man. Don't worry about it. But yeah, time attacking really big in Trackmania. It has always been, especially the campaign tracks, like the tracks that are part of the solo campaign. They're really, really hunted because everyone wants to be on top of that leaderboard spot. Yeah. So everyone's just trying really, really hard, and especially since this game is released for 11 years, you can figure how much has been done in this game and how many things are just being, like, still being found at this point.
Yeah, so here we have grass section, and on grass, every time you tap the steering, you lose speed. So you want to steer as little as you can.
Yep.
Just go very wide and inch your way through. And now we actually have another endurance track. So
5 laps.
We're going to go through the first lap here, and then if we have any donations, this is again a very good time to read them. So let's have a look at the first lap.
Aona donated $20.
Okay.
Rambo Fight donated $50. Good luck to Wirtual and Riolu speedrunning the second best Trackmania game of all time, after Trackmania DS of course.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Rambo. Yeah, go.
Miss donated $10. Great to see Trackmania at ESA again. Good luck on your run, Wirtual.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So yeah, this track is a bit faster and it has a couple of risky bits that can potentially throw you off also in a speedrun.
There's especially this warning sign turn here coming up.
Yep,
where
this one.
You need to time your drift to make sure that you get through it. And again, like on all of these drops, we try to do the air brake because it's the most stable way of controlling our car.
Exactly.
So
also right here, short tap on the brake. You can see the brake lights actually pop up for a small period of time. So that's when you know.
And we should also point out that it doesn't actually lose speed.
Exactly.
So it's only stopping the rotation.
Yeah, it's a really handy thing. Like when you start with Trackmania, it's pretty much the first thing that you really do. You need to balance your landings properly because this car's suspensions are very sensitive. So when you land with your nose down, then you're gonna get kicked back up again, and that's gonna cost you a lot of speed. Because as I said earlier, it's a lot about grip management, and if you don't land flat, you don't have perfect grip, and that's how you lose time.
Yeah.
E09.
This is again one of the meme tracks. The acrobatic tracks are usually like this, and we have some air control here. So for each one of these, we have to try to go over as little as we can, and
very nice.
That will reduce our airtime, so it's faster.
Yep. Airtime minimization. You will see it a lot in this campaign. A lot of techniques or lines that allow you to just land a bit earlier or just keep more grip in general.
So here we actually have a new trick, and this is the speed slide. So we're going to do it here. And I'm going to keep the skid marks behind my car, but I'm going to make them as close as I can together.
Exactly.
And that's going to actually make my car accelerate faster when I have a certain speed at the start of it. so it saves time, and it's used on some high-speed tracks in this game. So
it's a big part of the full speed map style that you have in Trackmania that evolved over the time. Speed sliding is not a technique that is actually intended by the developers. In fact, nothing that you see here is pretty much intended. Like the air brake isn't intended. Different driving techniques, nothing is intended. Like this is something that the community found out just by playing the game.
Yeah,
and,
overuse.
Yeah, the speed slide is really a difficult one, which we might see later on in the campaign as well.
Yep, indeed. So here we have a pretty risky track. There's a cactus here who has killed many casual players.
Yep, a lot of casualties here on this track.
Oh,
small bump.
Okay, right, we're fine. And into the finish we go.
Okay, good job, man.
Oh, I need to stop doing that. Okay, V12. So this is a pretty interesting track. It's getting a bit more complex, so we have some weird uncalculated turns here on the start. These blue water edges actually have grip, so we drive over them instead of the grass because it's faster. And then coming up we have a trick which I'm not going to go for, I've decided. But
Too bad.
It is a pretty cool trick. You'll see it later in the campaign.
Yep.
The infamous grass slide as we call it. So instead though, since this is a very sharp grass turn, we gotta start it out wide so we can push the inside corner. Again, pretty fundamental racing, but it saves time. And then safety ending here.
Very nice.
All good. Oh.
So there's a potential time saver at the end where you can jump to the right of that pole and get a shorter line into the finish. But it's a lot of risk being involved, in fact, and it doesn't save a lot of time.
Yeah.
So this is why Wirtual just went for the left. Coming onto E13, which is a track where we actually recently had a new world record.
Incredibly
Which
enough.
is almost maxed out. I think it's a 24:93.
Yes.
It is a crazy time. Like the world records, if you're maybe interested in Trackmania time attacking, there are world record YouTube channels that actually upload all of the runs.
Yeah, we have a channel that archives every newly set record, and the great thing about this game is that it has replays. And the replays are kind of like demos, so you can watch back the run in high quality, even if it's produced 11 years ago. And that lets us have very much competitive integrity. So if you want to look it up, it's Trackmania World Record on YouTube. Just search for that and you'll find this channel that uploads every new record, and it's
you will be amazed by what you will see there, because it's crazy. It's
there are some dedicated players in this game.
Yep.
All right, V15,
nice ending.
all good. So
you
you might have seen the speed slide happen there, and again, it saves a bit of time.
Yep. Last track of the next flag, B15, has a little bit of dirt again, and a very spicy landing, I would say.
A spicy one.
Yeah, a really spicy one. So hopefully that one's gonna go right, because yeah, the game, as I said earlier on the first dirt track, landings can be a bit weird, but I think this one's gonna be fine.
This one's fine.
So sometimes you find yourself landing completely flat with all four wheels at the same time, but what the game decides to do is that it backflips your car, and that is completely gonna ruin your run, obviously. So this is a track where it's really prominent. Yeah. Especially if you go for a really early air brake, which essentially makes you land flat. But yeah, looks good here. Very close to a ring, man.
Oh, right. We're fine, we're fine.
Good job, man. Calculated.
Yeah. So CO1 here, this is another skill track, as we call it. It's actually one of the community favorites from the campaign, because it's so... there's no random part, really. And you're going to see the drifts a lot. Plus some air control. So we're gonna go inside this pole here, it's faster. And do another drift here to go down the hill. Now we have to control our car. And also one more at the end here. Don't want airtime, so it's all good.
Very good. So the reason why this track is loved is that it's resembling the very famous tech style in this game, which is basically the most competitive map style, which involves a lot of drift and technical corners. And that's why that previous map... Oh, nice landing bug. Yeah, lovely, lovely. But yeah, that's why that track has been very, very popular, just to add on that.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a wonky track again. It has some... it actually features a lot of styles in this game. Tech, dirt, even some grass here, where you need to go tight. Got it pretty good. And then
nice
one more corner and into the finish we go here with the last stretch. So Yeah, CO3, the next one coming up, there's actually a little shortcut. It's a bit of a teaser for what's coming later.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The authors here intended you to jump over the scenery you can see flying, but you can actually jump underneath. So let's see if we hit that here. And I actually didn't. Oh,
you actually didn't, but it's actually harder than it looks like, because there's only that much space that you can work with.
Yeah, you need to start it really wide, and then you need to get a drift on the inside here, and that's much better.
Looks good.
Here we go.
Nicely done.
All right. So that's one of the the medals again. If you're going for medals in this game, that's one of the easiest to get with that trick, which was
basically for free if you make that lower jump. But yeah, then again, it's definitely harder than it might look like.
Yeah.
As always in this game.
As always. So CO4, this is actually one of my favorite tracks. It's very calculated. So we have this precise inside drift here, going inside of the pole and around the corner. Yeah, it is pretty calculated. And then if we have enough speed here, we can do a trick. So gonna go wide here and try to grab enough speed for this. So we were looking pretty good. We can jump through this gap just barely. And
damn.
All right. That's gonna be one of my memories after this. So I'm not even sure if we need to explain that. Okay. So what you saw happen there is a nose bug. It's one of the tricks in the game, and I accidentally did it there when trying to control my car. And yeah, flew out of the track. We don't need to explain it.
Fantastic. It's a technique. Don't question it. It just works.
It just works. Yeah.
So what happened is he landed 90 degrees with his nose pointing to the road, held the brake and steered, and then the game thinks, hey, I'm just gonna yeet you to the left, and that's what happened.
Went for a small flight. We're
unbelievable,
fine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so now we have another endurance track, and this one has only one really risky section here through the poles. So we need to line this up, and we should be fine for lap 1. There's one more lap coming up, but if we have any donations, then this would be a good time. You have 2, all right.
EO2 donated $10, waiting my WR.
EO2.
Good
North
one,
donated $20. Wow, 2 legends on my screen. Good luck for the run, Wirtual. Can't wait for the shortcut showcase.
Oh boy.
All right, how are we looking for that incentive, by the way? Are we, did we hit it? All right, so we hit it. Cool.
Awesome.
So you're gonna see some shortcuts later.
Thank you very much for supporting the good cause here at the ESA. Really awesome to see so much support. Actually, we checked yesterday how many donations have been made already towards our incentives, and it was a lot more than we expected, because we went halfway through already yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So big shout outs to everyone that is contributing.
It's great to be able to be here to play some games and raise some money. So
exactly. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we have time for one more donation if we don't have any yet. Okay. All right.
So CO6 getting a bit faster now. So this is actually one of the fastest tracks, at least partially. It gets a bit slower in the second half, but yeah, coming up to some loopings, which can also be a bit tricky with the landing. Yeah. So especially when you go for time attacking, the loop can actually be quite a start simulator. So definitely not the greatest experience, but.
Here we have a little tube followed by a tight corner. We got that one full speed, and now we have a pretty hard drift here in the uphill. So we need to line it up wide and then push it inside here.
There you go.
Changing the camera here. So I should mention, this game has many camera perspectives. It has 3 play camera perspectives. I play in camera perspective 1, but the one you saw, which is this one, the camera 3, is the internal one. And sometimes it's easier to use that, especially downhills and loops and stuff, because you will be able to see what you're doing. All right, now CO7, so...
A bit more technical again.
This
one
more
has
technical,
has a couple of pretty tight corners, where it's a lot about momentum and keeping the speed intact, going into some dirt here in the beginning.
Got a nice start there.
Yeah.
Now we jump diagonally here, and this is again to reduce a bit of air time.
Exactly.
It will let us stay in the air shorter, and then we land earlier and gain more speed. This is dirt corner where we need to ideally keep our gear. I got a pretty good turn nonetheless. And the ending coming up can be a bit sketchy, so...
Yeah, hopefully that's going to work out. Let's see. Coming up, passing the poles, dropping down.
Yeah,
nice.
we should be good here.
Was close to that pole though with your back end, almost hit it there.
Okay, now this game is pretty infamous for its bugs. So there's over every one of these outside borders here, we can bug when we drive over them, and that's going to be pretty bad. So, like that one,
small one,
but that one isn't detrimental. So I think we're fine here though. The downhill is the worst part to bug.
I remember hunting this one for the world records. Used to hold the record on this one. It was the amount of bugs that I got where it just completely threw me out of the track. It was ridiculous.
It can happen, yeah.
It can happen a lot because, yeah, as he said, the gray border to the sides of the block or to the road, they can be very sketchy.
Yeah. Anyways, CO9 here. So again, we have the freewheeling block, and what happens on this block is that my engine shuts off. So
listen.
Like
no sound.
Only the great soundtrack of this game.
Exactly.
But yeah, so on these blocks, I only have to steer. I don't have to press accelerate. And this ending is again a freewheeling. And the scary part about it is sometimes that you cannot brake. You cannot reduce your speed enough if you realize too late you have too much speed. So you have a freewheeling jump here. Important to look at our speed. And I'm actually going to brake because I would hit this pole. Oh no.
You still did?
I still did. Alright, okay.
Happens to the best of us.
Again, the freewheeling can be a bit scary.
It's a bit risky because you need a very specific speed threshold to actually jump either above that pole or under that pole. Yeah. Now we hit it. But
which
that's
is
not
the
too
worst
much of a
outcome,
biggie.
So yeah, okay, alright. So again, I can basically do nothing here and just wait for it to roll
quick
into
massage for the next map.
Quick massage for the next map.
And we're going to go to the next map, C10.
C10. So again, we have a freewheeling. This one is a bit easier though. Shorter map and less to worry about. Not that much that can go wrong here. But it's again a map that we can show in the shortcut showcase.
Yep.
Has a pretty infamous shortcut, which you wouldn't be able to spot immediately, but there is one.
Okay, C11, so 5 tracks left in the blue flag, so that's going to be, it's going to be a bit harder now coming up onto this track, which has a couple drifts. It's very fast, a lot of fast-paced drifts on this one, so need to be careful with the drifting angles, with how much you actually hold the brake. As I said earlier, the longer you hold the brake, the more you drift. And of course, drifting slows you down. So you want to minimize the time that you drift. You will see right here also in this upcoming corner where you want to just slide, get around the corner, hit the apex. That was a beautiful turn, man.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
We can cancel the drift and go back into the middle here. Hopefully no bug. Yeah, we're fine.
To the left, there we go.
And again, we cancel the drift, and this is to reduce the turning radius. Because when you have the skid marks behind you, your turn will become wider. So if you can cancel them in the turn, and then keep driving, you will be able to approach it tighter.
So in a nutshell, it's faster to not slide, it's faster to keep the grip, but sometimes you just have to.
So this is a bit of an interesting track. So for each one of these jumps here, I'm going to try to jump as low as possible. And we have to line it up here. So, and this track is also in the third camera perspective. It's forced actually, so we cannot change. We're going to do a small shortcut though. We're going to take the checkpoints.
Let's see.
Turn around and jump up on this nicely placed scenery. Actually got the fast method and into the finish.
That was really good, man. Fantastic.
All right. So
what he did there is he basically skipped the final quarter pipe by just turning around and driving over that scenery block. Yeah, which does save how much? Half a second roughly?
Yeah, around that. It was found last year to be faster. So.
Okay, C13, gonna be quite a risky jump coming up through 3 ring checkpoints. 2 actually.
Line that one up and set ourselves up for this drift in the same process.
Yep. Very difficult to get that right. Because the rings also narrow down the space that you have in the air, so you need to be really careful with how you line up. That was really close to the inside, by the way.
Close to the inside, yeah.
Oh, damn.
So, of course, the closer you go, the faster you're gonna go. And the world records in this game are basically with the tire inside every wall.
Sometimes it happens,
tracks.
C14, we have another multi-lap, 3 laps, and the ending of this one is going to be interesting.
The ending is going to be interesting indeed. There is a shortcut that works on lap 3 here. It doesn't work on the other 2 laps because there is a... you need some speed to be able to be faster in the other laps. So what we're going to do is, after this checkpoint here, there is a really long stretch that leads to the finish with these tight corners, and we would like to skip them, so you're going to see something in the 3rd lap.
It's hard to imagine what it is, but once you see it, I think you're going to be quite excited about it. Coming up to lap number 2.
So again, with the increased speed we have from lap 2, this is a bit tighter now. So we need to set up this turn really nicely to be able to pass through the outside here, and hopefully not bug on these loops. They can be a bit tricky.
They're very nasty indeed.
Yeah. And again, we have to set ourselves up for the downhill.
So once
also,
again,
here at this turn, we actually do a wall bang, so it's faster to hit the outside wall and then get a good line for the inside after. Let's do it after this map. So we have the shortcut coming up, so let's try to aim this as best as I can. So it's after the loop and in the jump into the checkpoint. You're gonna see it.
Coming up.
All right.
You got it.
Perfect.
You got it. Nice.
Okay, so that trick is called the grass slide, as we said, and it's the 90-degree slide. So if you land in 90 degrees and drift, you get access to low-speed drift properties, and they are way sharper than normal drift properties. So the game lets us keep our speed because we're going in the straight direction, but it lets us drift with high speed and high grip in the other direction. So we can use that to jump out on the grass and then over the wall into the finish. Now, this track is
terrible,
buggy. It's
terrible,
but it's mostly the map's fault, if I am allowed to say so.
It really is. Like, you can do nothing about it pretty much. It just happens. Like, you jump into that loop, either you lose all of your speed and your car flips, or it just works. So just a bit unlucky here, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Coming up to the end now, though. Pretty cool scenery on this track. I like it. It's like driving through a valley, but the map itself is not that good. But it will conclude the blue flags. So
there you go. Very nice.
All right, on to the red ones. So we have an endurance track here, and if we had any donations, this is a good track. Okay, go ahead.
Let's go.
Hey Ferl, Jakob, Roland donated $10. So nice to see Karjan finally speedrun this game. Good luck for EO2.
Thank you.
Aona donated $20. Hello, thank you for what you are doing for this game.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Wirtual donated $25.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Big Dog TM donated $50. Let's go, guys.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Much appreciated.
Okay, so as you can see in the top right corner, 5 laps. So the tracks are getting longer, of course, as I said earlier. And this one's really fast-paced. You don't really have a lot of space to work with, and you need to make sure that you steer in time, that you manage your speed, and that you drift around the corners just as far as it's actually necessary. So you can see right here, the skid marks are getting closer and closer to each other, because there's no need to drift a lot towards the exit of the turn.
So it actually starts out as a normal drift, but then you cancel it into the speed slide trick that we talked about.
Exactly. To
get a bit more acceleration. So for every one of these uphills and downhills, we have enough speed to do it, so it's optimal. Like here, for example, you can do a small one, and then a drift here, and then cancel it, and try to hold the skid marks here for as long as possible. So.
Yeah, the speed slide, as we said earlier, it's very common in faster paced tracks because it does make a very significant difference in the acceleration.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like on this track, if you do it on all laps really well, you'll gain several seconds. The world record on this one is actually really, really fast. It's you can pay attention to the time. It's like a 2:16 around that, and he does it really fast every lap.
It's incredible. Once again, check it out on YouTube. This run is mind-blowing almost.
Yeah.
Okay, last lap.
Last lap.
One more time, so then you gotta go to the next one.
Yeah.
Looks good though. Good pace.
This is
little save there,
depends,
but these are just minor time losses that are just there to basically avoid wall touches or crashes, because those are
very
worse.
detrimental. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're just gonna save it in here.
Last
Looks like
turn.
222, 221. Yeah.
Very nice.
All good. So DO2, we actually have a shortcut on this one. It's nothing impressive though. It's a bit of a mistake maybe from the authors. But what we can do here is that there's one of these loop-to-loops, like the alley-oop, and we can actually just skip it completely. So we're gonna try to do it after this turn here. Just a quick inside drift. Okay, we got it.
God.
So I got one of the bugs there, and I almost didn't make it. But
worst timing for that one to happen.
It's a very easy shortcut usually. In this turn, we have the force camera 3, so we need to be careful between the poles, because you don't see where your wheels are, so you kind of have to feel it a bit by playing a lot. And then we have another alley-oop here at the end, and this one is unskippable. There's a trick, but it's too hard, so we're doing
very
it
hard.
the normal way.
Very hard.
Good
job. DO3 acrobatic. You maybe saw it on the little map thumbnail already, or maybe here when you look at the map. It's basically just a spiral of a wall. So gotta keep the momentum, stay as low as possible in these walls, because the higher you go, the more travel distance you have on that wall, and that's something that you do want to avoid. That was a good one.
Okay, DO4. So this is a bit of a risky track again. There's a trick that you can go for, and I'm feeling pretty good about this one, so we are going to try. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So what we're going to do is there's a pipe, and you actually have just enough speed to jump over it instead of releasing and going under. So we're going to try it after this turn here. So
speed looks good, jumping.
Alright,
okay, there we go,
perfect.
nice.
So
we had to duck almost. Very nice, man.
we want to avoid releasing if we can, and this track lets us do it just barely between the sign and the pipe. So.
Very well done. So that's pretty much it about this track. Coming up to the last corner, just a simple turn where you just want to lift off instead of drifting, because it gives you more exit speed.
Yes.
For the finish jump, very well done. Author time. The green medal is of course the best one that you can get in the campaign.
Yeah.
It's driven by the developers, but we're better than them, right?
Yeah, we're hopefully. They drove them 11 years ago, so this game actually has had 0 updates since its release, and it's actually very good, I think. Like, there are some bugs, as we say, and we complain, but they also let us do some crazy things, which you will see later at the Shortcut Showcase.
Oh yeah.
And it also gives, yeah, like this one.
Terrible landing.
It also gives the tracks a lot of competition, because the records from all these years ago are still valid and competitive today. So
exactly. Like, the gameplay has always been stable, and that's good for the competitiveness of the game. It's not like all of a sudden there's a new technique where you can gain speed or something. And it's always been about skill and just maximize the tracks.
And the cars are all the same, so there's no pay-to-win features in this game. It's actually free on Steam, so if any of you guys fancy trying this game, then you can download it on Steam for free.
Absolutely. We have a very welcoming community, as you might have guessed by the donations already. A very active community for the time attacking, for streaming, for map building. You can do so many things in this game. It's actually beautiful. And what's also beautiful is almost this jump through that gap, which was barely higher than your own car. So nice try, though. Nice try.
There's a small gap you can get through there.
Yep.
I had the speed, but I didn't have the angle, so
it happens. DO6, another 3-lap course right here. Basically only based on these walls, as you can see. It's only going in a circle. And the goal, as I said earlier, in this wall is to stay as low as possible, to minimize the time that you're traveling in that. Because the higher you go, the more you slide. Sliding is bad, so you might draw the conclusions here already. And that's pretty much about it.
And of course, these walls, they get harder as you get more speed, because it's much more precise. Every input you do will steer more at higher speed, so you gotta be very careful about your movements here.
Yep. And especially difficult with your keyboard, I would assume.
Well, yeah. So, last lap now, we were looking good. This is got past the start, which I find the hardest on the track, so 2 more wall rides to go. And then this one is out of the way.
One more.
And yes,
there you go.
We're in.
DO6 cleared.
Good. Okay, so another shortcut coming up now on DO7. So this track has dirt, which is already pretty slow, and freewheelings on dirt, so that's very slow. So we're not going to drive that, we're going to try to skip it, and we're going to take this checkpoint, and then jump out to the right here, and we're just going to go zoom straight towards the next checkpoint and respawn. So we respawn to the newest collected checkpoint, and it is faster than turning around there, and that lets us skip these slow parts.
Yep.
So
it's very slow. Like you almost go at snail pace because, as you said, there's dirt and there's freewheels. So you go. I think the corner is like 90 kilometers an hour. It's
very
really
slow.
really slow. So obviously, like as a logical conclusion, you're like, how can we skip that?
Yeah. So that shortcut actually saves close to like 5 seconds. It's pretty ridiculous. Anyways, the end here too. So we're dirt plus freewheeling. So we want to go as high up as we can in that bank turn, so we have more speed for this straight towards the finish.
Yep. So the higher you go, obviously, the more downwards momentum you carry down that banking again when you go down, and that's what he made use of there.
High-speed track now coming up. Some precise turns here with good speed. So.
Yep. Track D08 coming up now. We have a looping, which can be a bit, at least the entry can be a bit wonky, because you need to line up very precisely. But no problem here for Wirtual. Platform now dropping onto the dirt. So it's all about momentum here, pretty much.
So we want to steer as little as we can. As you can see, I'm tapping the wheel a lot on keyboard. This game is playable with controller, and then you would just hold the stick at an angle. But I've always played on keyboard since I started this game, and I'm still having fun on keyboard. So. That's,
yeah, in Trackmania it's actually kind of good that you don't have big discrepancies between a keyboard or a gamepad. There are mostly like very minor differences, but all in all, everyone has a fair chance at competing. And this is why he can do these insane runs with a keyboard without any problems. So that's a really good thing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we talked about this yet, but on the start of each track where there's a booster, we do a little trick by going off the start ramp for the booster, and
Indeed.
It's because we reached the booster just a tiny bit earlier there, we save like 300s, 200s of seconds.
Yeah, roughly
each time.
something around that.
But so it's not much for this setting, but for time attacking, it's always used if it's possible. So.
Exactly. Also, whenever you play, like, not even a campaign track, of course, this track contains a lot of user-made maps, because there is a very, very good editor for the maps that you can use to build anything that you want, pretty much. And yeah, also on these custom tracks, there are maps.
So we're gonna do a shortcut here, and so it starts off with a wall climb again. So we talked about this. Not quite. Okay. So we want to climb this wall to the left here, and it is a bit of a fight with the car against the wall.
There you
but,
go. Nice.
we managed.
Beautiful.
So the checkpoint I'm taking now is the second checkpoint of the track. We skipped the first checkpoint, and we go straight for the second one, and the reason will become apparent later. So. For now, we're going to do a small shortcut here by jumping on the scenery, skipping that turn a bit. And now we're going to jump back through checkpoint 1. So I'm going to try to line it up here. So we're jumping through the wrong way and then over this border. Gotta save it a bit here. Okay.
It's still good, man.
And then back on the road. So all in all, this saves like 5 seconds if you do it well.
Yeah, it's basically a combination of just reroutes and shortcuts.
Yeah, and it lines up really well.
Yeah, so it's crazy how well it works, actually. And it has evolved over the time as well. So
we have a small strat here by going under that bridge.
Yep.
Easier to see in the camera 3.
Multiple strategies that you can use here.
And of
there you
course,
go.
The finish. So.
D11, looking forward to this one?
Oh no. This one can go wrong in all the wrong ways.
Yep.
So gotta be careful. We have to land on this booster and jump off to this block here. We're
Should
fine.
be good. There you go.
Right.
Nice.
It's not that hard, but it can be scary, so it can be scary.
D12, another one, a candidate with a very, very bad loop as well. A very bad loop build, so hopefully that one's not going to ruin the run here. So you're going to be seeing it in a couple of seconds here. First of all, clearing the platform turn, dropping down into the first loop. Not talking about this one. It's going to be the loop after that one.
The next one is the hard one.
Let's take a look. And actually flawless.
Actually really good.
Wow,
because that bug or that loop has a tendency to just kill your
I don't know, like a 70% chance of just completely ruining your speed. And lucky and good that we didn't get it here.
We survived. All right.
Just a little zigzag here, coming to the finish line. Just pick the shortest line possible. Just tight around the corners, and now this is yours.
This
Hopefully.
is all mine. So I've been trying to get the world record on this one recently, and I haven't been able to get it yet. I had a close attempt in the practice room earlier today, but it's not enough yet, so might have to go back to this track when I come home from ESA, but for now we're looking pretty good. So there are some tricks here, and this sharp turn coming up can be scary. We have to time our brake really properly here to make sure that we don't fly out.
Also, don't go too tight or too wide, because you have the bumps.
Now I'm actually going to save it here. So there is a small trick here, but it's too inconsistent for a run, I find it.
Sadly.
And, yeah.
But yeah, what you do is you just kind of launch yourself over that chicane by hitting a bump, and then it gives you a bit extra airtime.
So we have another trick though here, and this is the grass slide again. So it's a 90-degree slide, and we get the drift property, and we
nice. That was
perfectly
really good.
go through that turn. So that saves some time.
I think even for you guys that don't know Trackmania, that turn just looks completely
it feels
completely
really good to
weird
drive,
because
I must admit.
Exactly, you just turn so much, like you just zoop it around the corner.
And keep in mind, it's not intended by the developers. They had no idea of this mechanic.
Exactly.
So
but it's a really powerful one. It has been used so often on so many maps. There are even like servers that have only maps that use this technique.
Yes.
It's crazy how far this actually went. D14.
Yeah, so this is a very technical track. All of these turns are hairpins, and we need to be very careful about our drift, so otherwise we crash. And we can do a technique called the Neo slide here a lot, and the Neo slide is a drift, but you activate it on low speed where you shouldn't be able to. So it's steering, and then you stop steering for a second, or like a split second, and when you brake and then start steering again, then you get the drift. So I'm doing this for all of these very sharp corners. And for this one, it's actually too sharp, so we just crash the wall here, readjust our angle, and set ourselves up.
Tactical wallbang right there in that turn, so you will see it in every lap, in fact.
Yeah.
And yeah, so maybe to touch upon that slide thingy. Normally when you slide, I explained it earlier, but when you want to slide, then you turn, and then you hold the brake. But the car needs a certain amount of speed and a certain amount of steering angle, and in these corners you don't get that. It's just not possible. That's where the Neo slide is really coming in handy. So it's this very quick succession of key strokes or analog stick movement, depending on what you use, and then it helps you to save so many seconds on this track.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the difference between being able to get the drifts here and not get them is like 10 seconds over the entire run, because it's a long map.
Exactly. It just adds up. Like with every turn, you just build up more and more speed, and you carry it through, and that's how it ends up just being so much faster.
Wallbang round 2 here.
Bonk. That was an unlucky one.
Not the best, but we're fine. If we have any donations, again, this is a good time, because we're repeating ourselves here, going through the track. Otherwise, we can probably manage. So this track actually has a shortcut.
Indeed.
Which has been used to get the world record. It's a bit inconsistent, so I won't go for it here, but on this downhill here, you can climb the wall to the right again, and you can skip this flower-looking turn. So
actually looks like a flower.
It does.
Can't be unseen anymore.
So that saves like half a second per lap, but it's
really
again
difficult.
Like
there's only a handful of people that even tried, because you need to get 3 good shortcuts basically.
And you also have to, as we said, manage these hard drifts to have a chance, because the very best players here will easily catch half a second on you if you don't get the drifts right. So yeah. Anyway, it's a pretty clean D14 here.
Yeah, that was good.
No
well
crashes,
done.
So nice. Last track of the D campaign. And,
oh boy, D15. 10
I would
tracks.
suggest for everyone to just settle in for this one, because this is a long one. It takes about 7 minutes to complete. So each lap here is around 40 seconds and 10 laps. So make sure to adjust your posture, you know, make sure you're comfortable, because we're going to be here a while. So
exactly.
It's a bit of a dirt track, as you can see, speedy, some boosters, and this big jump, which will surely give us some bugs that you can see.
Yeah.
Small wall bang there to save some time, and then we have this scary uphill, which we need to line up.
This one's really sketchy.
Don't want to touch the outside border here, and then
not too bad of a first lap. So we got to do this again and again and again and again and again
and again.
But the good thing here is that you don't have like extra speed going into the new lap. It's a very similar line that you take.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to adjust for a flying lap and then a standing lap and a flying lap.
Yeah, it always adjusts after the first turn, so everything is the same.
It just levels out immediately.
So here I went wide enough that I don't have the angle for the wallbang, but basically your time on this track comes down to how many bugs you get, and
yes,
that's pretty much it. You just got to try to avoid them and be consistent.
Exactly. And now, sadly, there's not much that you can actually do.
Yes, there I have one.
That's
but
massive stop right there.
We are fine. So the bugs aren't random, as we say. Like they happen, but it's this game is actually very consistent. The physics are always the same.
Yep.
And they are always the same depending on your inputs. So if you know Trackmania, you might have seen these crazy press forward tracks where the player only holds the forwards key and the car goes flying all over doing stunts that are planned by the author because the physics are predictable. So there I had another
bug. That was a nice slowdown right there.
Yeah.
That one made no sense at all.
So the bugs are consistent, it's just that they are so common here that you really cannot avoid them all, and it ends up being a very drawn out map, let's say.
Yeah. Like we haven't really figured out.
We have time for a few donations.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
RastaBobbyTM donated $21. Is this a Taz? Can't wait to comment in French. My boy Riolu's run on Trackmania Turbo tomorrow. Cheeky smiley face. Join the Trackmania speedrun army.
Yeah.
Darklink donated $20. I hope you guys have fun at the event.
Yeah, we're having
Cheers from Darklink.
It's been great so far, so thank you, ESA, for having us.
Absolutely.
Also, as you might have heard in the donation, there is another Trackmania run happening tomorrow at Stream 1, so if you guys want to see some more professional gameplay from Riolu, the master of TM Turbo.
Professional?
Professional,
you called me out.
So that's going to be on Stream 1 tomorrow, so if you want to catch that, then yeah, make sure.
So if you like what you see, Trackmania Turbo tomorrow is going to be quadruple the length of this, almost. It's going to be a 4-hour run, so that is something that you can look forward to as well.
It's the newest Trackmania title. This is the oldest one, or the oldest one that's still played, so yeah.
Pretty much.
Virtue Mom keeps donating. Okay, that's cool.
Wow, your mom is so supportive.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks. Unbelievable. I wonder who that is.
Might be someone trying to, bait. I don't know.
Oh well.
Anyways, the donations go to a good cause, so you know.
Exactly.
The more, the merrier.
Indeed, indeed. So there's actually a funny story, like actually between us that we had on this track. We were both actually fighting for this world record. I had it from, when was it? 2013 to 2019. So I held this record for a long time.
Oh yes, it was
with a 7:11.5, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Roughly. And then this guy came along and actually beat my record by 0.4 of a second with a very nasty shortcut on this one. Yeah, so I'm still a bit mad. I might actually pay you back at some point.
We haven't mentioned all the shortcuts, but this one has one, yeah. And it's, of course, since it works on 1 lap, it works on 10 laps. So there is a lot of potential on this track.
Technically, yes. Technically,
it's very hard, and it's on this here. So instead of going on the uphill here, you can go to the left and hit one of these hills, the scenery hills, and it will take you directly to the checkpoint. But it is inconsistent, and
very.
Of course, if you hit it on lap 1, say, you still have 9 laps to go, so it's not the most fun to play.
No, it really isn't. Which is the reason why I kind of avoided it after you found the shortcut, because I was just like, nah, man, I'm not playing this again. First, because of all of these landing bugs that happen, especially at this jump coming up. I think my old world record had like 2 or 3 out of the 10 landings that just didn't work.
They can be really bad.
Exactly, and then also that turn where you made that mistake earlier in that uphill.
Yes.
Which is very sketchy because you land and you have like this little transition. You see like from that darker part of the dirt to the brighter part. There's a little height difference. And sometimes the car just pops up, it bugs again, and it can throw you into the wall. So there are a lot of parts on this map that make it rather unenjoyable. But if you want to get through the campaign, and if you want to get better at maps like this, because it is in fact still a good map to learn the dirt surface on.
Oh, very much
I would say, because it teaches you how to keep the speed in these uphills and the downhills and in the basic corners. So if you start with Trackmania, I think this one's going to be quite a challenge, but I think it's a good challenge. because as I said, it really teaches you to get control over the car and to build up that endurance. You can see by the map name in the top right.
So
E15 endurance.
Yeah.
So
even if you make mistakes in the early laps here, it's still a long one, and you need to stay composed. Really, it's forget what happened before and only focus on the upcoming laps.
Exactly.
So,
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Another
small bug there.
Did anyone count in the chat? Maybe, I don't know, but maybe we can have some guesses how many bugs we have gotten in this run so far, and it's not going to be the last one. Let me tell you that.
Oh, it's very much so. We have surprisingly an even worse track right at the end of the run, which is known as the Pro Killer, and the reason is that it's just there are no pros on that track. It's it's just a lottery.
Everyone fails on it, basically. The game is just having too much power at that point. You're gonna see later. A little bit of a tease, but first of all, we gotta complete the final lap here coming up now.
Remaining turns now. The last lap incoming. So
maybe one more bug. Can we get one?
Can we get? Oh! You called it, man. That's a clip and a half right there.
I did it, yes.
All right, let's not do that again.
Is that what they call RNG manipulation?
Right there.
I'm not sure.
Right there.
I'm good at that, though. I'm really good at jinxing this stuff. I don't know, man.
We have one more donation. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Dar00 donated $20. How can one not love Trackmania?
How can one not love Trackmania?
Yeah, good question. Thank you very much.
What a game. For a free game, this game has some insane hours you can put into it and still find new things to love about it.
Yep.
It's really one of those games that just, you can keep
play
playing.
forever.
Yes,
it's
basically.
Like the skill ceiling and the skill curve is just so inviting. Like once you start playing, you want to get better and better and better, beat those medals, and hopefully we're going to beat the medals on this one as well. EL1, the first map of the Black Series, so we have 5 tracks, or well, 4 in this speedrun, but 5 technically, because there's that last track that we're going to skip in this category. But yeah, very fast track, as you can see, a lot of loops, turnovers, tubes. So this one might make you puke if you're not used to this. So not suggested to play this in VR, I think. If you have a VR device, maybe you should not do this. So we're not taking over any responsibility for that.
Sketchy part coming up. We need to aim this jump into the
wall. Hole in one.
Okay,
nice.
Right. Okay, so let me talk a bit about the next track coming up, because this
one's
is a
all
big
yours
one for me. This is E02 Endurance, and this track has seen a lot of changes over the last months, and what was happened is that there's a brand new shortcut on this one, and it's a monster track. Like, we can have time to check the camera overview here. So this is the entire track. It's spaghetti, and it takes about 4 minutes to complete. And one of the guys in our community wrote a script to basically try to find the best shortcut on this, and that's what you're going to see now. So we have another wall climb here that I need to hit. All right.
Beautiful.
Oh, perfect. No, wait.
No. Yeah, you can turtle. You can turtle.
So we can turtle in this game, yeah. And that's driving on our head. And you might be a bit confused. We managed to save it.
Awesome, man.
So yeah, I can explain that real quick. So what happens is that the wheels have actually traction on both sides. Like, the wheels can still drive if they're upside down. So as long as your wheel is touching the ground, you can wiggle from side to side and drive upside down. But yeah, so this shortcut route that the guy found, it consists of 5 wall climbs, and the wall climbs, although they might look easy, they're very hard, because they are very angle dependent and speed dependent. So you need the right angle and the right drift to climb them. And I decided to take upon the journey to hunt this track to get the world record with the new route, and it took me like about 1.5 months, so I know this one by heart. So you might be a bit confused on watching, but that is a beautiful one.
Holy.
That is a beautiful one. That one, I felt it. All right. So that's the 3rd one. We have 2 more to go on this one, and right now we're actually driving the start section of the map. This is the first couple of turns. Checkpoint 3 is the one we're taking right now. So
basically nothing is driven the intended route. Like everything is being turned around. Like the complete route is different.
And it's really interesting, like, because the authors, of course, wanted to make sure you go the right way here. So they placed all these signs, but we actually go the opposite of most of the signs in this run. So you're gonna see, oh, they want us to go to the right.
We go left.
And here they want us to go left. We go right. So
wow, you're such a bad boy.
Such a bad boy.
It's
Naughty player.
Naughty boy.
Alright, so anyways, we have a bit of a break section here because there is, in fact, one more cut you could do, but it's just, that's the hard part. It's a really insane shortcut. So we're going to do 5 instead of this 6 that was found. That's the world record route. And we're coming up to the last 2 that I'm going to do. So the last 2 are, I think they're less random, but they're also really hard. So the next one is coming in this, you can see it here at the end of this intersection. So I'm going to try to climb this wall here from checkpoint to checkpoint. So we're going to line it up backwards and then inch our way over very nicely. And we have one more to go. So this would be really cool if we can hit it. It's coming up after these couple of turns here. I'm a bit nervous about this one, but one more to go here, so let's give it our best.
If we hit this one, spam the emotes in the Twitch chat. Can we have a couple of MV games if we hit it?
Oh my god. Or wait.
Save.
No.
Okay.
Okay, we didn't get it.
Take back the MV games.
Take back the MV games. We still got to do it again.
Take them back.
Alright. This should be
no
fine.
MV games.
Yeah, okay. So sadly turtle on the last one there with no traction, but still got over, and I'm happy about this. This is
it's still amazing.
Very hard to do in a marathon run. So
even for regular Trackmania players, it's really hard to actually grasp how difficult this is because, as he said, the setup for these overwalls or these wall climbs, they're so precise. You have no idea. It's incredibly hard, and seeing him do this live, also for me as someone that plays the game for 11 years now, it's fantastic. So coming up to the last part now, just a couple of easy turns here, and with a freewheel part. So crashing here is not the greatest idea.
An option,
but
so we
got it here. Yeah. Amazing! Wow,
very good. All right, so this is the Pro Killer track that we talked about, and let's try to count the bugs here. Actually, that would be a fun concept. So
I'll try to count, but I'm bad at counting.
So we have 1, 2. Already, all right. No bug. Okay.
Not bad, not bad.
So the start is one of the harder parts. 3 to get through, and it has a small shortcut here. The wall climb into the checkpoint respawn. Skip some tight turns on dirt, which is very slow. And apart from that, though, you can kind of tell that this track is not the smoothest. And the problem with unsmooth dirt is that it bugs a lot. So we just have to try to make do, though. The track is the way it is, and we have to play it. So
you just deal with it or you don't. And a lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't.
They just avoid
this one. But
they just avoid this one. I tried. I didn't bother at some point because I just got bugged all over the place.
Yeah.
And it ruined my entire salad. So I was like, nah, man, not gonna do this.
Not gonna do this.
But he did it though.
Yeah.
So respect.
So we have a trick here. We took some speed and we can tilt our car over the edge of that jump, and that lets us land a bit earlier. That's called a nose dive or a nose down. So, small trick there. Here we want to try to land on this other hill, actually. You could just jump straight, and you would be faster for a while, but the speed that I get from that hill catches up on this long stretch here and lets me gear up. So, the dirt gears are a bit weird, but there's a reason why we do everything we do in this run. So.
Exactly. So maybe to touch upon the gears a little bit. So gears are a very interesting thing about Trackmania. The car has an automatic transmission, so you can't actually just shift the gears up and down. The way that the gears work is that after a certain RPM is reached, the car is shifting up or shifting down. And you want to pick your lines in a way that you don't have an upshift or a downshift in a corner. So you always want to make sure that you pick lines that give you the shifts on a straight. Because if you get the shifts in the corner, you will actually kind of stall the gear a little bit and then you lose speed. And on dirt, on a track like this, on any other dirt map, it is a vital part basically. If you don't know about the gears, you need to play with the sound as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't really hear the
when I'm playing
RPM.
this track, I'm always listening to the engine.
You have to.
Because it's part of how you play is by listening. So I'm waiting for the shift there before steering, and it's like half the category on dirt is listening.
Exactly. So if you want to become good at dirt, you need to master these gears. Otherwise, you have so many time losses all over the place that you just can't compete with the top times.
Oh, so here I didn't get the shift, but I kept the lower. I didn't shift up at all actually, so it was still fine. if you shift up but you're steering, that's when it's bad. If you can stay like in the shift and not steer, that's still fine.
Exactly.
So
this is, I think, the only track that has such a mountain climb.
Yes,
it's
very
ridiculous. Like, no one builds this
strange.
because everyone knows that this is bad. Like, everyone knows it's bugging, so only on this track you kind of have to bother with this.
So it is a bit unique in that way.
Yeah, it really is. But that makes up for the amazing E03 experience that you can get for free in Trackmania Nations Forever.
Free torture.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we
That's
have
the next one. 4?
4, yeah, or 5, I think. But we have one more lap coming up here, and let's see if we can hit the shortcut all 3 laps. It is a bit tricky, so I'll try to line it up.
Yep, basically hit that orange part of the wall.
We are fine. So.
That's perfect. Very nice, man.
All right, so we have a couple of these ones again. We actually have another really bad. This one here is really bad because the landing you get is never like flat.
Yeah.
And so you always have to adjust based on that.
It worked well though in all of the laps, so that's something.
It's something, yeah. So again here, we're waiting, and now we can steer.
Exactly. So now we have enough speed, and as you can see here, turn the car into 90 degrees to get that bug slide or grass slide.
Bit of a dispute about the name of the trick.
Yeah, the vocabulary is a bit argued about, but yeah, that's basically how we set that up. You want to land in a 90-degree rotation. Then, as Wirtual already explained earlier, you get the game into thinking that you're in a different position.
Yeah. The game thinks you have 0 speed in that direction, so it gives you these other drift properties that let you steer very sharply.
Exactly, without speed loss, in fact.
Yeah. It's a cool trick. So.
Indeed. Coming up to the ending now, I think this one has kind of spared us for the most part.
Yes.
Except for lap 1.
The 2 bugs in the start were bad, but
yeah, this could have gone a lot worse.
Bit
as
of
you can see.
Crash. Okay, alright, we're fine.
Fair enough, man. Still
now we have
run.
the last track of the run. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, it's not that bad. So we have the last track, and this one has a complete reroute. So no checkpoint is taken in the correct order. So we're gonna go and get this one behind the start first, which is nicely placed for us. And yeah, we're gonna explain why later. So we're gonna go back to the start now and take this checkpoint. Normally, this ring here, this is the original checkpoint one. We're gonna drop down here on the side, take this one, and it's because we want to end on the checkpoint before this one. So the one you saw in the back there, that's the one we want to have as our last checkpoint. Now we have a couple of checkpoints here, grab them all, and then we're gonna go up to this platform section.
Yep.
I don't know if this is
Are
enough.
we gonna go for it? We're gonna go for it!
Oh yes!
Nice, man!
Alright, so
awesome.
I was a bit nervous about going for that. It's the ring jump. It saves 5 seconds to do that, so cool time saver. Really precise
Lovely.
on the angle, but we got it.
Well done.
So yeah, now we just have the victory march here on these
Coming up to the ending.
platforms.
This might look familiar. B09.
Yeah, some
the track that we had
transitions
earlier.
there. The black tracks try to like compile all the knowledge that you get
Exactly.
from all the other maps. So here we should jump up to the arrows, but we go back to the start checkpoint to get back to that one I talked about. And the reason we want this one last is that the end jump from this one is hard, but it's really, really fast. So if I get this, then we are actually coming up on time.
Exactly on time.
And
Final jump.
this looks
that
good.
Looks good.
Right. Perfect.
Very nice.
So we actually
Awesome.
have time in 3, 2, 1, now.
There you go.
All right, just the 106.
Well done, man.
And the 4 medals, of course. Very nice cutscene. And yeah, that is Trackmania Nations Forever, just like that. So we actually have a bit of time now for our
Exactly,
donation
we're not done yet.
incentive.
So do not leave the live stream right
we're
here.
just going to quickly, we have to import these replay files into the correct folder that I have here on the short.
Yep.
So we're just going to be quick about this.
you can see Windows, perfect. So you can actually see what he's doing right
just,
here.
Just give me a second here. We're working
caps
through
lock.
this. Caps lock even,
You're aggressive, man.
Tracks, replays, and we can just put them right here. So yeah, guys, get ready for this. So we're going to show all these shortcuts, and just to note, these are the world record runs. These are not tool assisted. These are the actual world records on each track. So just so you know. Okay, so the first one here is on A08. And this track is a multi-lap, and it's surprisingly walled in. Like, you wouldn't think there would be a shortcut. There's this one part here, though, where you're not walled in, and we actually take advantage of that. So on lap 3 here, we can do a really cool shortcut to skip this very annoying, slow last turn. So we're going to jump into the replay where it is, so have a look at this.
Yep.
Yeah, so what actually happens here is that the developers were nice enough to give us some water scenery on this track, and the edge here is very solid, so with some speed we can bounce in it at the right angle and fly directly into the multi-lap. Next track we're going to have a look at is going to be D11, so this is the scary track we talked about with the boosters. Now what I did is I jumped here and landed on these boosters and went to the finish. But there's a faster method, so...
yeah, let's take a look here at the replay. So instead of landing on the platform, you just jump right towards the ring in a very specific angle and you just bounce into the finish.
So you
how easy it is?
You use the ring here as a launching pad on the perfect angle that you can drive on it and get a small bounce that just barely takes you to the finish. Very nice
It's
replay.
extremely precise.
Extremely precise, yeah.
This record is surprisingly good as well. Like, normally when you have these lucky bounces, you can always be like, there's maybe a bit of improvement left, but for that one, it's really good.
Yeah, so this
is insane.
This is a track where you might not think there's a shortcut. There's actually a very nice shortcut that was found 11 years ago even. And it involves going backwards on the start, taking speed on this floor here, and we're actually going to just use this ramp here, drive up on the scenery, and bounce on this very nicely placed edge directly into the finish.
It's amazing how well this works.
This edge here lets us do that. Next up, we now have 2 very crazy replays. So we explained this grass slide trick, the 90-degree slide. And on this track, it's very interesting because you see there's one checkpoint placed and there's a lot of finishes. And people have always thought, like, how can we take use of this? Because this long turn here, nobody really wants to drive. And out of many years of optimizations, we got this replay here from Heffest. Very beautiful. Let's have a look. So prepare yourselves. Perfectly into the finish.
That's Trackmania for you, ladies
and
and gentlemen.
So this is actually a trick that involves 3 bugs at the same time. So the first one he's going to get is this edge bug, the ram bug we call it. This lifts his back wheel up and gives him a bit more airtime and angle. Then he goes for this grass slide trick, the 90-degree slide. And because he got a bit more airtime, he's now closer to the checkpoint, so he can go past it. And what happens when you grass slide towards the wall, it's very interesting, the interaction. Because you have all this acceleration, but the game somehow divides your speed by 0 if you hit certain points on the wall. And so the car just ends up launching out. And if you're lucky enough, you can just launch straight into the finish.
Exactly.
So it's a really crazy interaction.
The thing is that it can launch you into the finish, but it can also launch you out of the entire map. So it's something.
So we have another one of these, and this is also again by Heffest, and this one is a bit of a miracle. He got it after 2 hours of playing, and it's a 1 in a million run, really. Like, these are completely random as far as we know. So have a look at this one. Will he hit it?
Just looking at this is insane.
Yeah. Like,
look at that,
it's so beautiful. This is an incredible replay.
It's unbelievable.
Now lastly, as we said, there's still more things to discover, and we have actually recently found a brand new shortcut in the campaign that we wanted to show off at the marathon. So this is a completely new Trackmania Nation Forever shortcut that we're going to show, and this is on the track C07. So have a look at this one. So this is a segmented run. It's compiled of replays to show the potential. So the start here is the world record start the normal way. And then we added 2 replays of the 2 tricks you need to hit after it. So we're going to see it here. We're going to line up the car so it's fair. And then we're just going to have a look. So this dirt turn here, instead of going straight at it, we just jump up to the last checkpoint on the track. And then from the last checkpoint on the track, we need to get the second one. And it's pretty hard, but there is an angle where you can get it, go over the wall, go over this wall again, and just drive to the finish. And it's barely faster. It's like half a second. Nobody has been able to do this in a single run yet, but there are more things to come in this game, and people are very motivated for hunting the time trials. So
good luck to anyone that's trying this.
We can see happen in the near future.
I think so.
But yeah,
All right.
I think that is it for us, actually. I have nothing more to add. Thank you guys so much for watching and for donating. Nice to see all the Trackmania community showing up and supporting us. So make sure to catch Riola's run. It's going to be tomorrow. I think it's 11:30, give or take.
Stream 1. Make sure to be there or be square. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the run. Make sure to maybe check out the game. Check out his Twitch, twitch.tv/virtual with a W.
Yes.
And he is hopefully going to try more of these shortcuts.
Yes. All right. That's it for us. So take care.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.